What's up, YouTube? My name is Sean Safara with Safara Media, and today we're super happy to announce the very first episode of Beer Bruh. Now, a little backstory on Beer Bruh. Originally, this was going to be called Beer Bros, and my brother, who I would love to have be a co-host on this show, currently is not of age, so we can't have that. So for right now, we are Beer Bruh. We will stay that way. When my delightful brother does become of age, he will be a co-host, as well as countless other people, friends, you name it. We'll just see where this thing goes. What I'm aiming to do here is show you just how some of these beers are. I'm not a beer connoisseur. I'm not a beer expert, okay? I'm just a regular guy. I used to drink cases of light beer, Busch Heavy, Bud Light, Yingling, the whole gamut of cheap beers. And as I've grown older, I've become to gain a little bit of a taste and liking for craft beers. So, without further ado, I want to give you guys the first episode of Beer Bruh. All right, so let's get started. The two beers I've selected today to do a review of are both made here in Virginia, which is where I'm located. Okay, so what better way to start off this channel than with a couple local beers? The brewery that creates these beers is Devil's Backbone. Now, Devil's Backbone has been around for a good little bit. They have a pretty good selection of beers, and these are the two most popular beers available as far as Devil's Backbone goes. The first one is the 8-point India Pale Ale, and then we have the Vienna Lager. So, a little bit more about these beers, okay? They're both brewed in Lexington, Virginia, which is very, very close to where I'm located, just about 30 minutes. And I would love in the future to actually do a review of that facility, check out their brewery, and see what they're all about. I've never been there, so I'd love to take you guys along on the first go. We're going to start with the Pale Ale, okay? I'm going to put the Vienna Lager to the side. And if you noticed, I've got wine glasses. Now, why would I drink beer in a wine glass? Honestly, because I don't really give a shit what any pro beer drinker would say. If that makes any sense to them or not, I could care less. For me, it works. It's going to give us a good aroma of the beer, and it's also going to let you see the color as well as, everything about it, essentially. Like, again, I'm not an expert, so we're just going to see what a regular old Joe Blow thinks of a couple local craft beers. Now, this beer specifically, like I said, is brewed in Lexington, Virginia. It has an alcohol volume content of 6.2%, okay? This beer has an IBU rating of 45, so it is a pale ale. So it is a little bit bitter. And, I know friends that enjoy light beer, they enjoy lagers. They're probably not going to love this beer just because of its bitterness. But I will say, as far as pale ales go, it's not as bitter as it could be. Okay? This is 1 pint. All right? It's supposed to be a woodsy, crisp, citrusy beer. Okay? So we're going to see exactly what it's all about. So without further ado, let's crack this bad boy open. Music to my ears. You hear that? Good sound, good ring. All right. I don't think there's a great way to pour this. I'm just pouring it at a little bit of an angle so that it gets a little bit foamy. We're going to do about half the beer. Now, I'm not going to drink this whole thing in front of you guys unless it's that good. Truthfully, I've had this beer before. I've had both of these beers before. They're some of my favorites, but I don't want that to taint the experience for you guys, so we're just going to go right off of this single-handed experience. So the smell is very citrusy, okay? I mean, it smells like, it's like citrus, like a lemony or limey. It has an alcohol smell to it, given that it is an alcoholic beverage, but it's not over the top, okay? It's a good smelling beer. Whether you like IPAs, pale ales, craft beer or not, I think any beer drinker would enjoy the smell of this. So let's give it a taste. So right off the top, you're going to notice the bitterness. It's got a little bit of a bite. Like I said, it's not overly bitter. So it's not going to just punch you in the mouth, you know. It takes its time. It's kind of bitter up front, and it smooths off as the drink goes down. Very tasty beer. One of my favorites. Give me a 6-pack. All right. So let's look at this thing. Obviously a very gold color, which is marketed on the can. Okay. The color is gold, woodsy, crisp, citrusy. I think these are accurate. Definitely has almost like a pine taste. I know this beer has multiple hops and malts in it. And it gives it a very, very clear, concise taste. It's not very confusing. It tastes like you're having a beer out in the middle of the woods, like it grew on a tree, and you picked it off of a pine tree, and you pop that bad boy open. This is what you get. It's exactly what it tastes like. Very, very complimentary with a good steak, a good burger. I will say, it is a pale ale. So you are going to taste it. You're going to continue to taste it, drink after drink. Now, I will say, as this beer goes down, it gets smoother and smoother. I wouldn't want to hold this beer in my mouth for more than 10 seconds. What I mean by that has nothing to do with the taste. It's just the way the palate is for this beer. It's bitter. I personally enjoy a bit of bitterness, okay? But this isn't a beer that you would want to chug, okay? Like I wouldn't want to put one of these in a funnel. So any young guys out there, make sure you drink responsibly. And if you are going to put a beer in a beer funnel, I'd probably stick to cheaper beers because this is going to be pretty stout, okay? Oh, this is really good, seasonal. They make this beer year-round, okay? You can find it summertime, fall, winter, spring, you name it. You can find it just about anywhere here in Virginia. I will say, though, it is seasonal tasting. This is complimentary. Right now it's fall. This beer pairs nicely with a good campfire, okay? This makes me want to eat a bowl of chili. This makes me want to kick back, maybe listen to a little folk music, and just enjoy good company. I rate this beer. So before I give you the rating, I'm going to explain our rating. We're going to rate every beer as a 6-pack, okay? How many bottles does this beer get? I'm going to give this beer for an overall of 4 beers, okay? 4 of a 6-pack. The reason I say 4 is because honestly, it scores pretty high for me, mainly because it's palatable. It's not super bitter, but it's got a good bite, as well as good color, good smell, easy to find. You can find it in a gas station here in Virginia. You can find it in any major retailer, and you can find it at the bar. I do not notice much of a difference as far as this beer goes between can, bottle, or tap. I prefer beer by the tap. But out of this 16-ounce can, this is a rather tasty beer. Like I said, 4 out of 6. It's not the best pale ale that I've ever tasted, but I would recommend this highly to anybody that loves a good India Pale Ale craft beer. Awesome. I'm going to set this to the side for a minute. We're going to go ahead and get started with the Vienna Lager. Now, the Vienna Lager. This beer is a 5.2% alcohol by volume beer. It's an amber color. This is 1 pint. This, again, is made in Lexington, Virginia. And this one has an IBU of 18. So this is a lager. This is nowhere near as bitter. Less than half of my trusty pale ale here. Now, my best friend lives and dies by lagers, but one lager alone, and he loves Yingling. I'm trying to get him to step out of that space, and when you watch this and you know who you are, I recommend this beer to you. All right, same thing. We're going to pour this in. Oh, yeah. We want a little foam, you know. A good beer has a good foam. All right. Let's put this right here. Now, personally, I'm not cleansing my palate in between beers because, again, I don't really give a shit, okay? I'm just a regular guy letting you know what I think about these beers. So, again, to all the beer connoisseurs out there, you know what I'm getting at. Ooh, very smooth. Now, I did take a drink before I smelled it. Again, to the beer connoisseurs, don't really care. I'm just rolling with the flow here. Rolling with the punches. This beer doesn't have a ton of smell. Partially due to less percent alcohol by volume, as well as a little bit, I want to use this term lightly, a little bit less flavorful. It's a little light on the palate. This beer has won countless awards. Well, let's rephrase, not countless, 6 awards. It's won the World Beer Cup twice, as well as the Great American Beer Festival 4 times, okay? So it's definitely a highly recommended beer. This beer claims that it's mild, toasted, with caramel notes. It's mild. There's no doubt about that. I'm having trouble getting the caramel flavor, or caramel, as you city boys like to say. But definitely toasty tasted. Tastes like this beer was brewed in a kettle on a wood stove in my granddaddy's basement. Okay? I don't believe that's how you brew this beer, but my mind is telling me something different. This beer holds foam a lot more. Definitely a different consistency. Way less alcohol smell. Okay? Very easy to drink. Again, to the party boys out there, you could probably put this one in a beer funnel. Okay? Again, drink responsibly. Don't drink if you're not 21. But this one would pass your test. Maybe it's a little bit pricey to put in a funnel. But you know what? If you got the funds, you got the fun. You know what I mean? Definitely a different color. Very amber color. There's no lie about that. I'm going to give this beer 3 beers of a 6-pack. The reason being, it's a very good tasting beer. It ranks high as far as drinkability goes. It's very smooth. Again, it's really easy to find. You can find these in a gas station in Virginia, or you can find them in any large local market that sells beer. I've seen them as far as South Carolina. Okay, now I know that's not very far from Virginia. I don't know about you guys out on the coast, and I'm not sure about how far Devil's Backbone truly distributes these beers, but definitely easy to find. Again, I've had this beer in a bottle, by the tap, and in a can. I don't notice a whole lot of change. I think this beer does foam a whole lot more as a draft. Again, that's my favorite way to drink beer, mainly because of the experience, I believe, more than the drink itself. It's fun to watch your beer poured. 3 out of 6. Okay. You can see it's a dramatic color difference here. Whole lot more foaming going on in this beer, which is expected with the lager. This is much more of a sharp, and this is soft. If I was going to compare these two to each other, this would be a teddy bear, and this would be a wildcat from the mountains of West Virginia. Okay, or should I say Virginia? It's brewed in Virginia. Overall, 3 beers out of a 6-pack, 4 beers out of a 6-pack. Definitely a delicious beer. you guys need to look out for this in your local market. Hopefully in the near future, we can go to Devil's Backbone and enjoy the whole experience. I think Devil's Backbone does an awesome job of attacking the national market as far as drinkability of these beers goes. I don't know about you guys, but if you ever had some of these craft beers that are brewed super locally, and by that I mean there's no large distribution, there's not a whole lot of review going on, and there's not a whole lot of comparison. Yeah, I think these are good beers, both of them. I would recommend absolutely both of these. Drink them out of a wine glass. That way you can tell the whole establishment of beer drinking gurus and cardigans with mustaches in Brooklyn, New York, to kiss your ass, because these are quite tasty. Guys, I'm Sean Safera with Brew Bros. Okay? Scratch that. Sean Safera with Brew Bros. Again, there was a correction on that, okay? We just had to get the ball rolling on this thing. Look out for more guests in the future, okay? We're always going to do this show in one take. There might be some breakaway to show the beers, but, we want the real experience. I don't want you to think this is some doctored, we're sponsored by this or that. We're not sponsored by these guys. I went and got these 2 for $3, okay, at the local alcohol market, and not sponsored by them. Now, in the future, if they'd ever like to sponsor it, hey, we're open to that. We'd love to try your beers. They don't have to be in Virginia. We're even going to do some future episodes with just regular domestics, import beers. I love a good Sapporo. I love a good Mexican beer like Victoria. Yeah, we're gonna go through the whole gamut of all the beers. I really love that you guys tagged along for this. Next time we'll probably do 2 or 3 or 4 beers. You never know. We might get crazy and do a couple flights one day. I want to thank you guys for sticking around with the weird noises of the heat cutting on. Not all of us can do this in a big Manhattan apartment somewhere with our mustache and cardigan overlooking Brooklyn. But, again, thank you guys for tuning in, and tune in next time for Beer Bros.